Hola a todos y bienvenidos otra vez a la clase de español. Hoy vamos a aprender el verbo ser y los pronombres. Hello everyone, today we're going to learn about the verb to be, which is ser in Spanish, and the different pronoun subjects. So first of all, let's try to understand what are we talking about when we say subject, pronoun subject. So let's start to differentiate what it means in the English and in the Spanish. So first of all, ¿qué es un sujeto? What's a subject? So the subject is the person or a thing or even an idea or even an animal that the verb refers to. So what is doing the action? Whom is doing the action? So in English, usually first in a sentence. And in Spanish, sometimes, well, let's say most of the times is missing. Or it's not even first, especially in the questions, we're going to learn that usually it's placed at the end. So for instance, it could be I, you, Marta, he, Marta and I, the students, the cat, my friend and I, all of my students, you guys, and going on. ¿Qué es un pronombre de sujeto? What is a pronoun subject? Because we are going to learn that there's so many different types of pronouns. Direct, indirect, and in this case, we're learning about the subject pronouns. The subject pronouns are the ones that you will use in front of the verb every time. So I, you, he, she, we, they, you all. Which one is the purpose of these pronoun subjects? They replace the subject with a more generic term, and it often shortens or simplifies the sentence. He, she, we, and they use when the identity of the person is already known, right? So to not be redundant. ¿Por qué es importante? All verb endings must match their subject. So again, learning a new language, it requires you critical thinking and a lot of practice, because you will notice how the Spanish, el español, es muy diferente que el inglés. So you're going to notice that. So let's go ahead and let's look at this chart and let's learn which one are these subject pronouns. So here they're divided in singular and plural, okay? And then we also have feminine and masculine, and the same thing for the plural versions. Then in Spanish, we also have what in English you don't. We have the informal and the formal. What we actually learned in our previous lectures about the tú and the usted form. So let's go ahead and we're going to go one by one and we're going to see which one are they. And I'm just going to share a little secret with you. Most of them are not even used in Spanish. You will learn how they are already incorporated in the verb. So let's start with the first one. So we have yo or yo, which is I. Tú, which I don't even need to tell you because you already know, right? So tú is the you, the familiar, the informal. Then we have usted, which is the formal, right? This one here is just the abbreviation of usted, how you will write it down, UD. Then we have él, is he. Now, you want to keep in mind that the L has an accent mark, because if you see an L without the accent mark, it actually means the. It's a masculine, singular, definite article. Then we have ella or ella, means she. Then let's go to the plural. We have nosotros y nosotras, we, masculine, or we, feminine. Then we have vosotros y vosotras, which is used to address two or more people. So you're talking to them, you're not including yourself. And vosotros is a masculine and vosotras is a feminine. Now you notice here that it says familiar. Now, What we are learning is the Spanish of the Americas. It's a Spanish that's spoken in South America and Latin America. The vosotros and the vosotras is used in the Castellan in Spain or in Argentina, where vosotros y vosotras is the familiar or informal form, and ustedes means the same exact thing, is used in the same exact situation whenever we're talking to two or more people directly, not including ourselves, but it becomes a formal. Now, in our case, since we're learning the Spanish of the Americas, ustedes is the only one we're going to use, and it's informal and formal at the same time. So whether we use it in one situation or the other one, we're still using it correctly. And then we have ellos, which is they, masculine, and ellas or ellas, which is they in the feminine. So again, let's go over them one more time. So yo or yo, I use it for myself. I'm talking about myself. Tú, the you, the informal. You will use it whenever you're talking, addressing someone directly in the informal way. Usted is when you're talking directly, addressing someone directly in the formal. Él is when you're talking about someone, a male. They may be present. They may be right there in front of you, but you're not talking directly to them. You're talking about them. Ella o ella, same exact thing. You're talking about this female. Nosotras and nosotras, we, you're including yourself and others in whatever you're talking about. Vosotros o vosotras, used in Spain or Argentina, for instance, is when you're talking directly to two or more people, but you're not including yourself. Ustedes, same exact thing. You're talking to two or more people, not including yourself. Ellos, ellas, they, when you're talking about two or more people and you're not talking directly to them. So here we have unos ejemplos, which means some examples. So la estudiante, the student, the female student, you will replace it with ella, which means she. Marcelo y yo, you will replace it with nosotros, Marcelo and I. So if Marcelo and I, if I am a female, remember that in Spanish, we always have the predominance of the masculine. Mi esposo y mi amigo, my husband and my friend, ellos, they. Erika y Juanita, ellas, they, female, because there are two females. Tú y tu amigo, ustedes, because I'm talking to you and your friend directly, you both. Las turistas, the tourists, the female tourist, ellas. Tú y yo, now it could be nosotros o nosotras. Why? Because if that tú y yo, if we're both females, we're going to say nosotras, us. Or if either one is masculine, there's a presence of a masculine, will be nosotros. Doctora Sánchez, ella. And el joven, the youngster, él, because we see the article that's masculine. He. Now let's look at el verbo ser, which is the verb to be. Right now, we're just introducing the verbo ser, which is the verb to be. But in Spanish, we actually have two different verbs to be. El verbo ser y el verbo estar. They both mean to be, but they are used in different situations. So right now, we're just looking at the verbo ser. So we're getting familiar with the verbo ser. So it means to be. Ser is the infinitive form of the verb, meaning that it's not conjugated. So if you notice here in the list, each of the subject pronouns, they have a different version of the verbo ser. They have a different conjugation. Once we're going to learn the rule of the conjugation of the verbs, you will learn that in order to conjugate a verb in Spanish, we apply a rule. It's always the same logic. You apply the rule and you have your verb. But for the verbo ser is what we call an irregular verb, as un verbo irregular, where This one here does not follow the rules of the conjugation. So you see the first one, we have yo soy, I am. Now in Spanish, as I was saying before, we do not need, it's not mandatory to use the pronouns. Why? Because from the actual verb, we are able to recognize who is talking, if they're talking to you, and going on. So if I say yo soy, I'm saying I am. If I'm saying soy by itself, it still means I am. But remember, if you just say yo or yo by itself, it just means I. So again, yo soy, I am, or soy by itself still means I am. Tú eres, you are in the informal. If you say eres by itself, it still means you are. Can you say tú eres? Of course. But if you say eres, like eres Juan, you're Juan, I still know that I'm talking to you directly, and you recognize that I'm talking to you directly without using the tú. Now, this is where you have to pay attention. The used form will always borrow by the he and she form. Will always borrow the verb. What does that mean? This verb here, es, is linked to he and she. So if I say ella or ella es, it means she is. If I say es by itself, she means she is. If I say él es, it means he is. If I say es by itself, it means he is. Now, you can ask, but how do I know if it's he is or she is if you don't mention the él o ella in front of it? It's really easy. If I'm trying to say she's Maria, I will say es Maria. So we already know it's implied that es Maria means she's Maria, right? Es Maria. If I say es Carlos, you know that I'm saying he is Carlos. I don't need to say él es Carlos. It's implied. The minute you use usted in front of es, we remember that usted means you, right? In the formal. So the minute I say usted es, I am turning this s into r. So you are. So again, es means is. Whenever it's used with the ella, with the she, and with the él. The minute we put usted in front of es, it turns into you are formal. And you will better understand this concept the more you use it. Then let's keep on going. We have nosotros o nosotras somos, we are. So if we say somos by itself, it still means we are. So how is that possible? Because look at this. No one else is using somos. So somos, nosotros, they're like the rightful owners. Can we say nosotros somos like we are students? Nosotros somos estudiantes? Yes. But if we say somos estudiantes, someone will still understand that you're talking about yourself and others. Then we have the one that is used in Spain and Argentina. Vosotros sois, you all are. O sois by itself. So if I'm talking to you as a group and I say, sois estudiantes, you understand that I'm talking to you directly. I'm saying you are students. So what is this son? So here we have the same situation of the es. We have uno, dos, tres, we have three pronouns using son. So if I say ellas or ellas son, it means they are, as in this group of girls, they are. But if I say son by itself, it still means they are. If I say ellos or ellas son, it still means they are. If I say son by itself, it still means they are, as in all masculine. So again, how do I know if it's feminine or masculine? It's implied, it's a situation. So if I say son, Maria y Ana, of course I'm implying that it means they are, the girls are Maria and Ana. If I say son profesores, of course it's implied that I'm saying they're male professors. The minute you put ustedes in front of son, you're no longer saying they are. but it's turning into you all are. So again, if you use some by itself, it's implied that the use will be they are. The minute you use ustedes in front of son, it means you all are. So out of all of these pronouns, you will always use throughout this language usted and ustedes because the other ones are always implied. So let's see unos usos de ser. ¿Cuándo usamos el verbo ser? So as I was saying before, we have two different verbs that mean to be. We have the verbo ser and the verbo estar. You already encountered the verbo estar in the very beginning, right? When you ask someone's well-being, ¿cómo estás? Because it's contemporary. The verbo ser is used in a more personal way. We don't want to say that it's permanent because there's some variations about it. So we identify people and things with the verbo ser. So if I ask, ¿quién es? Who is it? Ella es la profesora. She is the professor. To express a possession, right, we use de. ¿De quién es el libro? Whose is the book? El libro es de Rebecca. The book is of Rebecca. It's Rebecca's book. We do not have any apostrophes in this language indicating possession, okay? So we will not say, es Rebecca's libro. No. Es el libro de Rebecca. We turn around the word. So if we want to say John's car, we will need to say, literally translate the car of John. If you want to say Rebecca's book, we need to say the book of Rebecca, just like in this case, el libro de Rebecca. To express where something or someone is from using the origin, ¿de dónde eres? And here again, if we go on the chart, eres, you see how here we do not have the to added because it's implied that we're asking directly to someone and it's the informal. ¿De dónde eres? Where you're from? Soy de Guanajuato. So again, here you see the soy. We're not using the yo in front of it because it's implied. To express someone's profession or occupation, remember no article is needed. Samuel es artista. Samuel is an artist. So here we have some completed sentence. Here again, we have the list of the conjugation of the verbo ser. So here we have some examples on how you would use it. So Guillermo José, we have a missing spot here, estudiantes. So Guillermo and José, estudiantes, students. So here we're indicating their profession or occupation. And this is what I was telling you before. We don't want to think about the verbo ser as something just permanent because again, you could be a student for a semester, a student for 3 years, and then you're done. It's not permanent, but if that is your situation right now in the moment when you're talking about yourself, that it belongs to you. It's very personal to you. So we will use the verbo ser. So we will say, Guillermo y José son estudiantes. They are estudiantes. They're students. Usted de Venezuela, no? You are from Venezuela. So you indicate the origin. We will say es. Mi amiga programadora. My friend, we want to say she's a computer programmer. So we're going to use es. We want to identify and describe the classes. Las clases son interesantes. The classes are interesting. We want to indicate a possession. El lápiz es de Miguel. The pencil is of Michael. It's Michael's pencil. So remember what we were saying before about how do we indicate possession? We do not have that apostrophe S in Spanish like we have in the English to indicate possession. So remember, Michael's pencil becomes the pencil of Michael. ¿De dónde? Where are you from? ¿De dónde eres tú? Now again, here we're indicating an origin. And we're adding the do just for the purposes of this activity. But if you do not want to use the do to ask and inquire about someone's origin, you don't need to do it. So you could just ask, ¿de dónde eres? And they understand. Yo no soy de Michigan. I am not from Michigan. Again, here the yo is used just for the purpose of this activity. Because if someone asks you, you know, ¿Eres de Michigan? No? Are you from Michigan? No? You will say, no soy de Michigan. You know, I'm not from Michigan. And then we have mis amigos y yo somos inteligentes. My friends and I, we are intelligent. So again, next time we're going to learn many more verbs, muchos verbos. We're going to use more uses of the verbo ser. And then of course, we're going to get familiar with the difference, la diferencia entre los verbos ser y estar. We're going to learn more about the difference between the ser y estar. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. And the explanation, clarification about the verbo ser. There are more resources and different views about the verbo ser and your VHL Visa student portal. And until then, nos vemos. Ciao.